Okay, so Jonny Kight, welcome to AdBits. Hello, thank you for coming and joining me. I wanted to start initially about your background and beginnings. So I'm going to ask, like, how did you first get into production and directing, and what pulled you into this world?
How do I get into it? I think, like lots of people, just started at the very bottom and worked my way up. Made good tea. But look, I'm a film buff. I'm a film geek. So kind of I've always loved the movies, and I was working at. I first got jobs at Pinewood on big features, doing my time there, and then slowly moved into commercials, and then was just did the running thing, and then I got in with Stink and Rocket and started making music videos, producing for them, but like such like really small, like $5,000, $10,000 jobs. So I was kind of like running on big jobs and then producing these little promo spots on the side. And it got to a point where I'd be running on a job one day, and the next day I'd be working as a producer, but having to hire after some grips and sparks that I'd just been running with, and I thought maybe I should just stop. So I just took the bit and then just carried on just doing promos, and just worked instead of doing the usual, I guess, like PM thing. I just cut my teeth making lots and lots of music videos and content things, and just slowly went up, like from $5,000 to a $10,000 budget to a $15,000 budget to a $20,000 and 30, even 50, even 100. And then a lot of those directors I was working with started to do commercials, and the rest is history, so to speak.
Awesome.
And here I am now.
Starting off in, what were you doing in Pinewood? I mean, every time I've been there, it's always been so exciting. I love going to the film studios like that.
Yeah, it's great.
I love seeing all the stuff that's around there. I love seeing all the little shops, all the little workshops that are around there, and the history of the place. What were you doing? Anything specific, or was it? I mean, I
was running on big Hollywood. I was just a runner, but on Hollywood films.
Yeah. So, which ones? Any ones that we'd know?
What do I do? I remember doing Huntsman. What did we do? Lots of stuff. I can't think now what I've worked on. Nothing. Yeah. What was? Remember the Jack and the Bean? Was it Jack and the Beanstalk? Or what's there's a Jack Black film I did. I can't think which one it was now. Then sorry. Was it the Huntsman?
It might have been.
I can't remember now. I can't remember. A long time ago.
Across commercials, shorts, and stills, how do you keep your creative identity when moving between formats?
I think it's just quality control, isn't it? I think it's just quality control stuff, and just making sure whatever you're outputting, or whoever you're working with, directors or photographers, that you're making sure you're producing their vision, essentially. But it's quite. I just find it's quality control, and I think it's just everything. You're still there's an idea. There's a way to execute that idea, and you bring it in a team, and then it's all that one moment to make that idea happen. So I think at the end of the day, creative, pushing the creative and stuff is the same for whatever discipline you're in. I think it's just having that sort of like that quality control, and just making sure that you're not dropping the ball in certain places, and it's what you're outputting is, whatever you're outputting is at the highest level. We're trying to push to the highest level, trying to say something or trying to do something. That's how I always look at it, really.
Good. And I'm going to talk about a new production model now. I mean, everyone obviously is talking about new ways of producing content, and obviously the industry's changing and adapting and evolving massively. In your article, is it time to embrace a new production model? You argued the old system is breaking down. What's not working anymore?
Well, yeah, this is my LWB piece I wrote. But I wrote this. I mean, this is a year and a half ago now. So I think it has changed. And my argument was essentially the model was, what Ridley Scott created in the 50s or in the 60s of, that, and a a company which reps directors, and then you produce their work. And I think what you see now is a huge change in the industry where there's a lot of freelance directors. There's a lot of in-house stuff going on. There's different types of agencies out there. There's all this production companies going direct to brand. So I think there has already been a change. But I just think that traditional model of we're a production company, we look after our directors, and we just I think there's different avenues and different ways to do it. And I think it is starting to change. And I think what wasn't working was a lot of companies couldn't adjust to, say, doing slightly different type of stuff. So whether that's TV stuff or content stuff or multi-branded stuff, as opposed to like as traditionally it's just a TVC commercial, which comes at a budget and a way to work. I think films, or I think the way we make films or short form content is evolving, and how we get that work and how we execute that work is evolving. So I think it has started to change, but I just think that I think what wasn't working was just the attitude of we make TVCs, and as soon as you need to pivot to anything else, it doesn't work. And I think I've worked, I've done jobs where we've worked between TV companies and commercial production companies doing like branding, and it's kind of those two worlds really don't collide. They collide, no, I haven't said right. Those two worlds really don't gel together. They sort of collide, and I think to produce a TV show is very different than producing a commercial as is then producing a feature film or producing a music, And I think even though we're still making the same stuff, we're still using the same crew, essentially, it's still a script or, a script, and then we're executing that script. Yes, there's obviously time things, but but there are jobs now which are evolving where, and you are saying this, like you've got in commercial guys who want to make, more feature films, or it's branded stuff or whatnot, or everything else in between. And I think the world's, they do need to, I think the production model has to, and there are companies out there that are doing it now, but I think that there should just be this adjustment where production companies can do more things or different things and pivot to different ways. And then essentially you're making interesting work.
Interesting. Okay. And from your perspective, what would a better model look like in practice?
Well, I think it was just what I think a better model is, well, that's the $1 million question, I think.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? Nobody knows at the moment. I mean, you were talking to me about Cyclope before when I was in Berlin.
Yeah.
And I do feel that we one of my observations was, and maybe a frustration is everyone's still talking about the same thing. It feels like we're going in circles in some ways when we're talking about the formats that we're working on, and not really talking about necessarily enough, or how to tackle, or how to just to communicate the right word. It's not a challenge, it is a challenge, but how to communicate information is what we're doing, isn't it? Scripts through other platforms, namely social media, for example.
Yeah, and I think you're seeing this. I think you're seeing there's some agencies out there which have a production arm now, which production arm into TV. There's PR companies doing more film stuff. There's obviously production companies which also, they do drama or long form stuff. There's TV production companies trying to do more content stuff. So I think there's traditional companies then trying to do something else, but I think it's the hybrid of all those, which if there's a way to do that, I think. And look, you don't want to be the jack of all trades, but I mean, as a producer, we're the jack of all trades to a certain degree. But I think that the model is just, I think it just needs to be a different way, as opposed to, right, here's an idea, let's go to a production company and get the director to do it, and then it's, but they only know how to do that one way, as opposed. There's a different way, whether that, how that work comes in, how you create that work, and where you're at, like you said, with social, how you output that work. I think those two things, are important, and I think you just need to be able to pivot around them slightly.
Interesting. Okay, so when you've tried new approaches in your own work, what were the biggest wins and the hardest challenges? I mean, would you say you've actually tried new? Have you tried many new things? I mean, it feels like everyone's doing,
from a production point of view.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was. I mean, I've done I was like I was saying with the I've done a job with a TV production company who make TV shows, and we did some stuff for Channel 4, but it's branded content, so it's kind of it was us creating a TV show which has been sponsored by a brand, so it's kind of came in a weird way. So it comes in via an agency, but goes to Channel 4, then comes into a TV production company as opposed to a commercial production company, because the way they work is just Channel 4 geared up to work with TV production company, so it becomes like a commission, and then you develop it, and you. But again, so it was kind of like we're making a TV show, and there was so many arguments. I remember it's like, are we making a TV show or we're making a commercial? And it's both. And obviously, how you say whatever you say, there's a price tag for talent and people. As soon as you're making a commercial, well, that's that price. But no, it's a TV show, so it's that price. And then I think Channel 4 had like editorial control on it, so it's quite, as opposed to the client. So that was a very hybrid. And there's more of that sort of stuff going on, but it's tough because, like I said, it's what is it, one or the other, and the two, trying to get a commercial production company to work with a TV production company was quite tricky.
Interesting.
But it works fundamentally at the end, which is the most important thing.
Okay, so going back to your work now, on your site, projects like Taketh show a very personal storytelling side. How do you decide when to step into that space versus keeping it commercial?
I just get a little itch, and I have to make something. And I think because I do so much commercial work and producing commercial work, I feel like every now and then it's quite nice just to make a personal project and just get those. Yeah, what's the phrase I'm trying to think of?
It's food for the soul.
It's food for the soul, yeah. And it's just to create those. It's just to make, it's food for the soul, and it's just nice to express yourself in that way and just keep those skills, or those, what's the word, those motors, or it's food for the soul. There's something else I can't think of. Anyway, but it's just nice to make something and express yourself in a different way. It just doesn't have to be commercial in anything, But it's just a little they're passion projects, effectively.
It's good to have balance, and it's wonderful if you can have an outlet to be creative in. I think people need everyone needs one in some way. So if you're able to express yourself through that, it's fantastic.
Yeah, I think so. And I've always done that. And I think I'll continue to do it, really. It's just nice to have that avenue and just to do that, something which is completely different and not commercial work, And then it means that I can just focus when I'm not doing that, I can just focus my energy on, producing my commercial work.
Okay, so in that note, which project taught you the most about stretching your craft?
I don't know how to answer that.
It's normally the most challenging ones, isn't it? The ones where you've had the worst experience or the most challenging experiences sort of break you, and then you learn the most. It's like life, really, isn't it? The most challenging experiences are the ones that make you.
Well, the lovely thing about filmmaking is every production is slightly different, and it is one of those jobs where you learn on the job. Yeah, because every product, there is formulas, there's things that are similar, but there'll be one thing on every job. There'll be one thing which will be a challenge. There'll be one thing I haven't really done it like that before, or we haven't shot in that place before with that and that, and I've got to get up, so it's like, got to get all this kit up a 3,000-foot mountain, and I've got a window of 4 hours before the wind comes in and blows us all away, and it's snowing, or that's just happened and now we need to shoot that. And so I think that's a lovely thing about film. Or that's this one little bit of line of this text has been written, and it's like so and so and so, but then it's like, okay, actually, how do we shoot that? That's kind of needs all these things, and then you have all those conversations with the your director and DOP and production designers. So I think every job you learn something, and I think that's the nice thing about filmmaking. It's not you're not there's a formula, but every job is slightly different.
I love that. I love the learning process is for me is the best. Nothing's the same. Your continuous learning is it makes everything just much better. Mental health and sustainability. So you've written about mental health behind the camera. What do you see that people outside the industry often miss?
I think there's no with filmmaking, and when you get to set, there's very little margin for error. You gotta, you got hundreds of thousands of pounds, and you've got to this one moment, you got to shoot it, and you can't not shoot it, you can't not do it, you can't not deliver it. But to get to that point, I think you can be doing lots of long, crazy hours, and if you've got a date to shoot something, you have to be ready. So you've got to put in the work beforehand. You can't really cheat it or escape it. And that can be a stress or cause a stress and just that, I think people don't see, maybe outside industry won't realize that so much because to get to that moment. And I think it can just be, you just have to put in a lot of time, a lot of hours, and that can be tough. And there is no margin for error really. So I think that's the challenge.
I think what's interesting is people don't understand is when in my mind, I always just remember you just live for the job. And most people don't understand the way that works in a way, because they have normal jobs and you go home and you start again. But there is definitely a sense of living, everything else is secondary. When you're in the zone and you're heading towards that shoot.
I think that's a freelancer's life as well, or running your own company's life. I think people don't realize that. I don't think there's just a stress of that away from the job and the work. Just when's your next job or paycheck and you can go very hard for a period of time, and then you come out of it and you're like, oh, I'm just exhausted. I need some time off. But you don't get paid for that. That's not like paid holiday. And I've often taken breaks because you feel burnt out and you've got to take some time off. And I think that's what. And then like I said, you're not getting paid for that. And then if you do say to go, like, I need to take a few weeks off or whatever it is, you can't go, right, I'm going to come back in 3 weeks and there's a job there. You might have missed the job because you've had to take some time off, and then there's no job to go back to. So I think that's a challenge. That's a real challenge. And I think that goes for anyone who's a freelancer and in any industry, and every level from a runner to a chef, or to a cook, to filmmaking, or a location person, like anyone, to a director, to a producer. That goes for everybody really. You can't, and it's quite hard to plan as well, especially in short form. One thing, the nice thing about long form, whether that's TV or film, is that there's an element, at least you can plan. Oh, crap, I'm on that for 6 months. Again, you don't know what's the other side, and it's impossible to predict that, to plan that. And you could plan something, and all of a sudden, a pandemic comes along, or something else like that. Or the poor guys in Ukraine, like that, they're running radioactive guys, there's no way to predict really, unfortunately.
So what practical steps do you take on set to look after yourself and your crew?
I just try and be nice and friendly.
Don't be a dick.
Don't be a dick.
That's the main thing, isn't it?
Yeah, I feed them.
Yeah, give them good food. Well, food. And yeah, exactly.
Practical steps. Don't be. Yeah, just try and be nice and friendly. Don't be a dick.
Yeah.
trying to think now. Just treat people how you want to be treated. You know, just look after people. It's a very stressful environment. It can be a very stressful environment, and it's so easy to flip and be, you know, and it's a different environment. But you hear so many horror stories. And I remember when I first came into it, you'd hear horror stories of just people not being nice to other people, and it's just not cool. And I just think, you know, like if you can look after people and be nice, and, you know, just, and I think there's easy wins. I was chatting to someone about this the other day. Like, there's easy wins. Like, if you can just, you know, have nice food there and things set up and things organized, things be prepped and organized, you know, make sure things are ready, you know, as opposed to trying to run between, you know, as opposed to get there and it's all a bit of a mess. I've learned the hard way, you know, but I think it's just, you can just do easy wins, and it is just being nice and, you know, just thinking ahead, 3 steps ahead about actually this, what's going to happen here. That's actually, that's this little, I can just see that someone get annoyed or that this has been a problem, and it's just thinking ahead and going, actually, let's just do these things to mitigate it. And it could be as simple as just prepping people of the job ahead, what's in, you know, or it could be as silly as, let's just make sure there's nice breakfast and coffee for people when they arrive, or let's just go, this is a stressful thing. It's, you know, this, you know, it's just thinking ahead and being nice and prepping, I think, you know, as opposed to just leaving it all last minute. And it's just a clusterfuck.
I think also people forget, because they're so focused on the day, as they should be and they must be, is about repeat business as well. You know, if you create a good environment and a positive environment, it just, you know, there's lots of people on set. There's a client there, there's a production company there you're working for, especially in your, you know, if you're freelancing, things like that. There's the crew there that you've got to pull in. When you've got less money and favors on jobs and things like that. So I think that's a really interesting other aspect that some people who don't work in sets or work in production don't really understand, just the politics on one level that are involved that's going on all the time. And as you, as the producer, it's on you. Like you said, you've just got to prep and create that right environment, make sure it's not a mess.
Yeah, and like you said, every job is different and at different budget levels, and some jobs will be really easy. It's just one setup, one location, and or in the studio, and sometimes we've got to move around everywhere, and sometimes you will need favors, or I need people to work harder, or it's like, can you just, you know, we need to push this, or so I think. And I use lots of the same crew as much as I can, but yeah, if you can look after everybody, and they're gonna be on your side, and that's what you want.
Yeah, great. Okay, so reflection. Looking back, is there a shoot you'd run completely differently today?
Probably every job I've done.
That's pretty honest. I like that. I was waiting for you to say there's this one I always remember, but no, every single one. Yes.
Yeah.
I think that's a good answer. I think you know, I don't think you shouldn't come away from everything going, oh, I'm amazing. As soon as you start thinking you're amazing and everything's going well, that's not a good place to be.
No.
You should be humble.
I think if I went back, I'd do every job slightly differently. Because I've learned something. How to do that a bit better.
So you still feel as though you're learning on every job?
100%, yeah, 100%.
That's a really good thing. Excellent. Okay, and what do you think? Yeah, okay, this is quite an interesting one for all of us, but and it's impossible to answer in lots of ways. But what do you think production will look like in 5 years, and what part do you want to play in shaping that?
In 5 years, I think it will. I think it will look quite different. I think it will look. Yeah, it'll be interesting. I think it will be. I think it will probably look very similar in some ways. I think the shooting bit will probably look very similar. Cameras, actors, lights, location, studio. I think that bit will probably look quite similar.
Maybe the lights will be drone lights. So they'll hover around as you need them and as and when, and it'll all be arranged like that.
I don't know,
probably not though.
But I think, yeah, there'll be some new. there'll probably be some, there'll be obviously new tech and stuff.
Yeah.
So there'll be aspects will look very different. Other aspects will look completely the same. I think post will look quite different. I think production will probably be quicker. I mean, it will be cheaper to make stuff, 100%. You know, maybe there'll be less crew on it. How do I shape that? I don't know. Just keep working and evolving. And I wonder whether you'll travel as much, because whether you can sort of shoot, well, apart from a cost point of view, whether there'll be a way to shoot something. Well, there'll be an easy way to get the location thing as opposed to doing it now. Maybe I'll be going to, I'll be going to set in a driverless taxi, and maybe the kit will come in via drones, and my DP is an AI robot.
That's interesting.
Or the client's an AI robot, probably.
Yeah, we're all being told what to. Yeah, the clients are AI, and we are the new slaves. Yes, absolutely. Okay, what advice would you give to younger producers or directors coming up now? Run away?
No. One piece of advice to give to everybody starting out is just, how would you act if you've been paid $1 million to do that job, and just do that and work like that? As soon as you have that attitude, things change. So just act like you've been paid $1 million to do your job today. And how would you check if you were whatever you're doing, if you've been paid $1 million to do that, what would be your how would you work differently? And if you just take that attitude, I think I'll just say that to everybody.
Okay, and then quick fire. One film or commercial you watched recently that blew you away?
What have I watched recently? I'm trying to think what I've watched recently. Well, One Battle After Another, the new Paul Thomas Anderson film, is pretty amazing.
Is it good?
Yeah, it's great.
Okay, I'll go and watch it. I keep hearing different reviews on it.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of his.
Yeah.
And then I've just been going back watching loads of old movies, actually.
Have you seen on Amazon, they've got loads and loads and loads and loads of old movies?
I have, but what I've started to do is I've invested in a 4K Blu-ray UHD and nice surround sound. So I'm going back and buying old.
Oh, I see you're going there. Oh,
yeah.
Okay, great. That's great.
Yeah, so I'm doing that. The new is the Jaguar Wrath of God, Red Hot Sox film.
Oh,
so
wow.
4K, BFI just done a 4K master of that.
Is that the one where he's lugging the boat over the hill?
Yeah, and it's very. I mean, it's literally an analogy of film production.
Yeah,
chaos. Because that's the thing. It's the chaos of film production. That's what I love about it. It's like we've got to get this bloody huge ship up this hill, and it is. That is the chaos of film production. The madness of it all sometimes. And I've had, with you guys, with 2.0, we had to get all our kit up a 3,000 foot, snowy mountain top, and there was a you had these gondolas which would only open between, I think, they were only open from 6 a.m. till 6 p.m. and if the wind got up to like 20 miles, they would shut them down, so you're stuck up there, and then it takes essentially 2 hours to get all your kit up, and then 2 hours to get all your kit down, because it's so high up in these mountains, we can't leave the kit up there. So then all of a sudden you've got this small shooting window, and it's just the madness and the chaos. And I think that film, just the analogy of that film of just getting this ship up a mountain is pretty much that is filmmaking right there and then. The first thing I'd do would probably be pencil up crew, like key crew, DOPs and stuff, just make who's right for and then do then it's like a script breakdown, just try and work it out. The first thing to do would be pencil crew up, the key ones.
Yeah.
But habits and stuff, I mean, and there's lots of habits to do without, like meditation stuff, without sounding too pretentious. I think that's
nothing pretentious about being mindful.
Yeah, I think that's pretty important.
I think you can say that quite openly now, and no one's going to think that.
Yeah, I think meditation's pretty good. That's really helped me out loads.
And how often do you do that? Do you do that every morning?
Every day, yeah. 10 to 20 minutes. I did one. I put a hole in an airplane once.
A hole in an aeroplane?
Yeah, so like a gust of wind came up. We had an easy up, and we're shooting an airplane at an airport. I'm not going to give names. And it was an airport where, and they'd given us the plane, and we had like a window to shoot the plane, because it's like, look, you can do windows because we need to shoot in the interior. So I said, look, you can have this plane. Just so it's a 300-pound million plane, and we got to give it back at 5 because it's fully booked and it's got to fly to America. I was like, fuck, bums and seats. And I was like, okay, fine. And I remember we were shooting, and then my production PA or PM came up, white as a sheet, because Jonny quit. Something's happened. I was like, okay, what's happened? So you can maybe say some of this, I don't know, but see, and she goes, well, I go, what's happened? It's like, something's hit the plane. I was like, what? We had an easy up outside.
Yeah.
We obviously get underneath it. A gust, it was wind picked up, gust of wind had come up and picked up the easy up and hit the fuselage of the plane, put a hole in it, and then skidded along and then put another hole in it. And I was like, oh my God. And I was like, you know what went through your brain? I was like, well, I'm at the airport. I've got my passport on me because we're airside. I said I could just get on a plane now to South America to Acapulco, and that's it. I've got how much cash I've got? I could just do one. Because I was like thinking, oh my God, I'm gonna get sued for £300. I was like, I gotta go tell the airport guys, and they got the tech guys, and they from the airport, they came out and they sort of looked at me and went, yeah, don't worry about it. I was like, what? He goes, yeah, we'll put some aviation tape on it. The other one I had was we're shooting this scene in front of Tower Bridge. So I think was it Butler's Wharf or whatever it's called? Yeah. So the idea is we had a famous celebrity walking in front of Tower Bridge at night, and it was all motion controlled. So, and when we were in a studio with them, but we didn't have the celebrity on set, so we're doing a motion control shot of tracking here, pretending to track him in front of the Tower of London. But we had then shot him on blue screen in Pinewood, and I think we had to shoot this on a Maybank holiday, so it was the Friday, because we could only shoot him. The only day he could do was the Tuesday after the bank holiday. That's the only day he could do. So because it was bank holiday, we couldn't. No, what was it? It meant the only day we could do was a Friday. So and we had to shoot the motion control track first, which is a shot. And the idea was it was just like just as the lights come on Tower Bridge. So we just got there and got it all. And rehearsed it, and we just rehearsed it, and then we were just waiting and got it right, and then we're just waiting for the time, for the sun to drop, and then so I think we had the sun dropping behind Tower Bridge, so we're shooting west, looking west, and then so we're just waiting for this perfect, and it was really nice, perfect shot, and then about just an hour and a half before we're just waiting for the lights to go, we see this huge French Navy frigate pull up next to us. I was like, I took a look into with the DP and said, what's that ship doing there? I had my location managers, because we obviously cleared everything, what we're shooting there, there's nothing going on, just to check, and they're not going to bring the door bridge up. And I said, what? And it sort of came around and did a little U-ey, and there's a Navy base right in front of where we're shooting. There's a little Royal Navy base.
Oh, right.
It's quite hidden away. It's sort of like, I think, and then it did this little U-turn, then pulled up right in front of our shot, and then docked. And we're like, literally. So then now that our shot was
the ship,
huge French Navy frigate with you can't really see much of Tower Bridge in the back. And we're like, what's going on? And I spoke to locations, and they got them to Film London, and they said, well, look, this is Navy. We can check everything, but these things we don't get told because it's all top secret. So when we thought, got up to the Navy base, tried to knock on some doors, and some old naval captain came out, and we said, "Oh, look, just what's going on?" And they said, "Oh, yeah, we yes, the French Navy has come in. They're docked for the weekend, and so they've got a week. All the French guys have got a long weekend off. So it's staying basically, and we're like, you can't just go around the block a couple of times while we shoot our scene. So I think that's definitely not happening. And we're like, oh my Lord, what's going to happen? And it's like, well, now our shot is what do we do? Like,
yeah.
Like, and I was like, got on the phone to Post to paint it out, and it's like, that's, it's like millions of pounds, and it's a reshoot, and it's a reshoot, but we got a celebrity, and he can only do that day, and he's like A-list celebrity, and we're like, what can we do? And I was like, oh my God, it's gonna be a nightmare. But what can we do? And by pure fluke, when it got to do our shot, obviously there's the tide. So by pure fluke, the tide had dropped. And so the ship had dropped. And I said, look, we've got to carry on. We've got to do this shoot. Let's just carry on. And by pure fluke, it dropped. And then it dropped such enough that we only saw the top half of it. And I thought, right, at least we can try and paint that out, or painting. But to this day, if you look at the shots, there's a little French Navy boat just the top of it in shot, which no one knows and no one realized. And we got it.
Listen, thank you, Jonny, for coming on.
No worries.
I really appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did.
Yeah, lots of fun.